We are especially excited to run this webinar on money mindset, and we have the most fabulous girl to guide us through and to share her passion and expertise in this area. This is part of a 12-part free webinar series especially designed to reach women in rural and regional areas as part of our 2-year Regional Women's Financial Literacy Roadshow. If you are not familiar with 10,000 Girl or you haven't joined us for a program before, we're a not-for-profit social enterprise that aims to improve the financial well-being of Australian women through different forms of education, be it physical workshops or online webinars and courses. Our goal was to help 10,000 women. We've surpassed that now, and so we are just continuing the momentum and to reach as many women as possible. Our aim is to make finance social and fun. So we always start with the idea around it's very important to be clear on your goals. If you don't know what type of lifestyle you want to live or what type of things you want to achieve through different phases of your life, it's very hard to then work backwards and see, okay, well, what does my financial picture and what do my financial nest egg need to look like to support that desired lifestyle? So we take people through on a 6-step journey. So if you're part of our 6-step money makeover, we've got an amazing group of women in this current round. Otherwise, you might have done it before or you might be considering it. We then look at, okay, your financial foundations, taking time out of our busy lives to review your current picture, and then you have an idea after step 1 and 2 about what's your destination. So what are you aiming towards, and where are you currently? Then in step 3 to 6, we look at some investing principles and talk about super and tax implications when investing and estate planning and how to build a really great support network in order to get you from A to B. Now you'll see here that we have a mindset icon in each of these steps. And this is because having a healthy money mindset is so key in being able to achieve your financial goals. So that's why we're especially excited to be running this webinar today. For those of you who, as I say, aren't familiar with 10,000 Girl, those women who go through the 6-step money makeover also make a contribution to microfinance. And the idea is that to show each of us that as we each increase our capacity to improve the world and have a really far-reaching ripple effect expands. So we're able to run these free programs thanks to really generous partners. We've got a grant from Financial Literacy Australia and as part of a 4 or 5 year partnership now with Rabobank, we really treasure the partnership with Rabobank in order to run physical workshops in regional areas. And we work with the Financial Planning Association of Australia. So they help us find the best financial planners out there to link with the women in our network that are wanting to find good advice that they can trust. Hester help us with some super resources. So they're an industry super fund, and really they've got some great simple tools and calculators if you want to check out their website. Of course, the ATO help us with small business and tax stuff. Understand Insurance is a consumer website to understand general insurance run by the Insurance Council of Australia. And Credit Savvy are a site that helps demystify credit reporting. So feel free to play on any of these websites. They've got great resources. So importantly, I will now hand you over to our very special guest, Welcome, Sabina, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Zoe. Welcome, everybody. Fantastic that so many of you have dialed in. That's really exciting. For me, it's absolutely wonderful to be sharing this content with you today because I'm so passionate about the need for us to have this healthy money mindset that Zoe talked about. Believing in yourself, as I've said here, and having a positive money mindset is really critical before you actually take the steps to put your strategy into action. And I'm just seeing if I've got control to go ahead to advance the next slide, which it doesn't seem to be doing. Just bear with me.
It looks like
Zoe doing something?
Looks like it from mine. So just mouse, maybe just click with the mouse now.
There we go. Fantastic. Okay, we're on. So I want to start with a question. Do you ever feel like you're striving but never fully thriving? And that the money coming in doesn't match the passion and the time and the skill that you're pouring out? Are your dreams of financial security not coming to fruition? That's the case for a lot of women that I speak to, and as a wealth and success mindset coach, I guide heart-centered women on a mission through the lens of money so that we can see where their blocks, their fears, their resistance to success are hiding, so they can step up and have the courage to create an abundant life on their own terms, whatever that may be for them. And by the end of this webinar, my goal is that you're going to leave here with a transformed, exciting financial goal. Now, I know a lot of you are already working on that, but for some of you, this may be new to you. So this process, I'll just let you know, it's going to be slightly out of the box. It's not going to be your standard approach to money matters. And as Zoe said, at 10,000 Girl, we like to keep things fun and invigorated, and that's my intention today. I'm going to jam pack in as much great stuff as I can in the time that we have together. We've got a lot to cover, so I want to keep you on your toes. So to get the most out of this experience, have a pen, paper ready, and be prepared to play along. And I literally mean that. Play along, because I'm going to be taking you through some exercises. Hopefully you're in a private space, because I'm going to share a mind-body technique with you to help you address your money mindset. And at the end, some of you will want to take this work further, so I promise that I'll share with you a way in which you can do that. So as Zoe said, having a healthy money mindset is vital, because you can have the best financial strategies in the world, but if your subconscious mindset isn't aligned to creating more money, it's going to act as this invisible stone wall against your efforts to make real, tangible progress. And oftentimes we need to address our mindsets first, our belief in what's possible, so that we can even dare to think or dare to dream about what we really want, about what our desires are. And particularly as women, we're still not reaching or even creating ambitious financial goals because we haven't, on the whole, yet woken up to our true power, our potential. We're still learning and flexing our muscles, and we haven't traditionally held the purse strings. We haven't been the money managers. It wasn't women's business. But the paradigm is shifting, and the main thing standing in our way and slowing us down now is ourselves. And so the strategy is important, but also the mindset. And I'm absolutely passionate about bringing more choice and possibility into our lives. So, whatever your financial goals, we need to create this healthy relationship with our mindset first about how much money we deserve how much we can create, and then take the steps to make it happen. So I'll just give you a little bit of background on my story. So I grew up in England in the early 1970s. Both my parents were immigrants. They were well educated, intelligent. I have an Austrian mum and a Pakistani dad. And diversity wasn't normal in those days because they looked different. Because they looked different, they got treated differently, and they never got the jobs they deserved. They never got a break financially. And I really grew up with real scarcity. We didn't have very much at all. And my parents divorced when I was 8, and my mum ended up working 3 jobs. I was the only girl at my school who couldn't do a lot of the normal things like going on school camp or going overseas. A lot of things just weren't an option, and I knew not to ask for anything. We were so badly off, not that I realised it then, but my mum went without a winter coat for 2 years, bless her, so that my brother and I had coats to stay warm in the snow in the cold English winter. You can see that's my big brother and I at the bottom there. Not a lot of snow, but there used to be a lot. So bless her, she made a lot of sacrifices for us. Now, having this early programming affected me at such a deep level that it shaped my programming for the next 30 years or so. I believed in scarcity, that you had to work very hard for little gain, that good people never get ahead. So I decided that I would be the best that I could be at school, at university. You can see me graduating there. I wanted to get the top grade or the top job so that I could be, I could be successful. And by the time I was 24, I was already earning more than both my parents by the time they retired. And to me, that was a really double-edged sword, because on the one hand, it felt like a great achievement. I was really proud of myself. But in reality, subconsciously, it felt really wrong and disrespectful in some way. Who was I to earn money at such a young age and surpass my parents? It just felt wrong on some level. So it's interesting that something would always happen to me, which meant that I wouldn't get ahead, that I'd have to start over. So, for example, I'd be at the top of my game in my jobs. I'd, get a salary increase. I'd get a promotion, and then I'd change jobs, or I'd go overseas, or it brought me back down where I'd have to start over again. And that was very much a pattern that I repeated over and over. It was a form of self-sabotage. I know it now to be self-sabotage. At the time I didn't, but it was subconsciously me hitting my ceiling of what I felt I could deserve, or what was right for me according to my family programming. And I was always living paycheck to paycheck. Even though I earned a good wage, I just wasn't getting ahead. Now, when I was 29, everything changed. I met a hot, spunky Aussie man. I fell in love, and I should probably put a picture of him at the bottom there. And 6 weeks later, I moved to Australia. But the problem was I was in debt. Not a lot of debt, but I was in debt, and I couldn't afford to stay in Australia paying off my UK loans. I was on a working holiday visa, and I just didn't have enough funds to service those debts. And I was faced with a really bleak choice: staying with the love of my life or going back to England. And yeah, it was bleak, and I had to choose money, and I chose love. So what happened was that I had always been fiercely passionate about self-growth, personal growth, but in that moment I became really serious about money management, and I realised the huge consequence of living with low-level debt. So fast forward 10 years or so now, I've gone from being in debt to not only buying my first house, but also being in a position to pay it off. So the important thing to say is that I was not earning a lot of money. I was temping on a working holiday visa, but I still managed to make my money work for me. And nowadays I work as a coach, a kinesiologist, an EFT practitioner. I help people uncover their subconscious programming so that they can release it and smash through their money blocks so that they feel more confident to go out and claim their vision of success. And I want to introduce you to some of these aspects for yourself. I work with a mind-body-money connection because when you approach these problems with a three-pronged attack, I find that the results are faster, deeper, and longer lasting. So I can't wait to share that with you.
And I have to say that I had an hour and a half session with Sabina the other day, and I was reduced in that short time, reduced to the most relieving, beautiful tears of realization in just such a short time. So I am personally in awe of Sabina's ability to really, take us through some amazing processes. So thank you for sharing your story, Sabina. It's amazing to hear, to hear your personal journey.
Thank you, Zoe. Yeah, so the reality is that I see so many talented and brilliant people who are hampered by their money mindsets and their programmed beliefs. And it's my mission, it's literally my mission to help people release them, because seeing my parents struggle their whole lives and knowing that there is another way to break free of this is what drives me. And that's why I'm so passionate about sharing this work. So let's get started. I seem to have a bit of a delay with the slides advancing. Here we go. So if we did a quick check in the chat box, I won't do it now because we'll check in later, but I'm sure that a lot of you would raise your hands and say that you'd love to make more money so that you could really save, invest, enjoy life, so that you can live life in a way that you choose to live, not just settle for. And today what we're going to do is look at the power and importance of setting outrageous financial goals. And we're going to shine a spotlight on how strong your resistance actually is. And when we get it out on paper and measure it, it's no longer going to have all this power over you, and you can deal with it very directly using a tool that I want to share with you. So I hope that sounds exciting. First of all, and going back to what Zoe said, it's ever so important for you to know what your why is. What's your motivation? What are you aiming for? Do you want to repay your debt? Do you want to get a pay rise? If so, what for? Do you want to earn more in your business? If so, what for? Do you want to create a security blanket, buy a house? Do you want to save money for your kids? Are you in a relationship perhaps that, you want to leave but you don't have a nest egg? Do you need to make a dramatic change? Get really clear about what it is that's guiding you to want to make more money. Give your money some purpose. Having purpose will drive you. Let's get to work on setting a financial goal now. I want you to think about how much more money you would need to save or manage to have relief from worry, pay your bills, take holidays, save. Okay, so this goal, let's take it as a monthly goal. I want it to be one step up in enjoying your life from where you are now. Don't make it too outrageous. Now, this is important. Don't make it so big that you're wondering how you can make it happen. Okay, let's just play blue sky thinking. So what would it take for you to save and invest and enjoy your life? So with your pen and paper, start writing down roughly, if you don't know exactly, approximately what your monthly expenses are. And then I want you to add on any additional money that you would like to have to make life more easy, more enjoyable, and come up with that new monthly financial goal. So for example, let's just say you want an extra $20,000 a year. Now everybody's tax situation is different, but what would that be like? So after tax, for example, if you had an extra $1,000, does that mean that you could spend an extra $500 and save an extra $500? What would that be like for you? So just take a moment now to play with that. And it's important, this is going to be a process that we build on throughout this webinar, so do take the time to do this now. Of course, you can go a lot bigger. You could dream of having an extra 50. Now, this is really powerful. It's extremely powerful. I hope that everybody's got a number that you can work with. You can come back afterwards and refine it, but just get an approximate number down now. Okay, so have a look at this. I want you to write down that goal on a piece of paper. I know you don't have this, but on a piece of paper, write down that goal roughly in the format that I've got it here. And I'm going to ask you to say something really, really negative sounding. It's impossible. Now, what we're doing here is we're uncovering what's stopping you from making this money, from saving and creating and managing this money. And here, I want you to rate yourself between 1 and 10 how impossible that goal feels. So if number 1 is it's not very impossible and 10 feels really impossible, rate yourself on that scale. So if it feels really impossible to get there, you might be an 8, 9 or 10. And if it feels really doable, you might be lower at the end of the scale. So take a moment to do that. I hope that makes sense. Okay, and then I want you to write down the next statement, which is, I can do it. So in relation to that goal, do you feel that you can do it? You can reach it? So 10 means, yes, I can absolutely do it. 1 means, no way, like I can't. So put that rating in there. And then the third statement is, I deserve it. And do the same thing. So if you feel like you really deserve that goal, you're going to be, 7, 8, 9, 10. If deep down you feel like you don't really deserve to have that much more money, you might be lower on the scale. I hope that makes sense. Zoe, are you following along?
I am.
Great. Now, look at goal number 2. Look at goal number 1, the figure that you've worked out there, and I want you to double it. Double that number and put it in goal 2. So now looking at that, I want you to say the words, it's impossible, and now rate yourself there. Did your resistance just jump up massively? Does it feel really impossible now? I've done this many, many times with people, and generally speaking, it goes much higher up the scale. So if you were at a 10 before, it's going to be off the charts now. So I want you to tune into how you're feeling here. I just want to share a story about a client of mine. When I did this process at an event, she wasn't a client of mine at the time, but she had a $20,000 tax debt that had been hanging over her for 2 years. And when we went through this process, she later told me that she was feeling sick, she was feeling anxious, she was getting, her heart was racing, and her mind was going crazy with, I can't, there's no way, it's absolutely impossible, why am I even doing this? And she was just in a zone of complete fear and anxiety. And she, as I said, she later became a client, and after 2 sessions, she took some inspired action, contacted her accountant, and that tax debt was cleared. So try and suspend your disbelief in this moment about whether it's even possible. But just rate where you think you are on that scale. Okay, so here's the limiting belief that we've just tuned into. It's impossible. It's going to be really hard, and it feels really true. Now, just ignore. You can go and do I can do it and I deserve it at a later time. In the question box, I would love for you to share what's the feeling that's coming up for you. What are the thoughts that are coming up for you? Is your mind talking to you? Is your body talking to you when you think about the fact that it's impossible? Let's gauge some reactions.
So some of the feelings that are coming up are apprehensive, great, thank you, hard to imagine the money, I'm anxious, nervous, yes, my mind is telling me it's impossible, I can't earn more than I do, so where will it come from? I feel helplessness, I'm just out of ideas, I'd really like to believe this, but I'm not sure how. My dreams and goals are not realistic. How is it ever going to happen? Anxiety, so unachievable, can't see how. I get anxious, I kind of want to stop thinking about it. Impossible. How would I do it? I have no make more money. Nervous. It's impossible.
Yeah.
How do I do this? Disbelief, tired, trapped. I think I can earn a little. My husband can earn more. Seems like a huge amount to make each month. Frustrated. Can be done, but need to earn a lot more to. But need to learn a lot more to get there. When the money went up, I felt a bit sick, cynical, all of the above. My mind can fathom it ever happening. I feel rebellious and want to try anything. I love it.
I love it.
There's lots of coming through.
Isn't that powerful? Isn't that incredible? So turning up the dial on this stretch goal has just exploded loads of limiting beliefs, hasn't it? Our body's talking to us. It's so powerful what's behind, in our subconscious. When we really start to dig around, all this really powerful negative stuff comes out into the foreground. Now, when was the last time that you did that? This is waking you up to your feelings and your thoughts that are running through your system. And the fact is, we know that these are limiting beliefs because there are people out there making and managing and saving that sort of money now, irrespective of their circumstances. Don't worry about that right now. We know that it is possible. It's just whether you believe it's possible for you. My question to you is, do you think that walking around with all of this is going to get in your way from even trying to go for that goal? Of course it is. So we want to clear the resistance. How long has this been holding you back? How much longer do you want this to affect you? How much has it cost you in unrealized income, in unrealized savings, investments, and how much debt are you just holding on to? The fact is, setting your sights on a stretch goal is triggering you massively. Someone said they're excited or they feel great. That is fantastic. That's fantastic. You want to amplify that and run with it. But for many of you, you're feeling hugely triggered at it and it's impossible. Some of you just feel sick and probably want to just go away and hide. And the thing is, why would you take action on something that inside feels really impossible? It doesn't make sense, does it? So sometimes we have these pie in the sky dreams, but really what's going on in our heads is totally at odds with what we say we want. So if something feels really impossible, I want to tell you what happens to you, because this is something that people don't talk about, and we should. Our minds are really, really powerful, and when the mind tells us that something is impossible or very, very hard, we get triggered in two ways. Okay, there's a psychological and an emotional response. So as we've just seen, you know, there's all these thoughts come up. There's a fear of failure, you know, there's anxiety, there's worry, helplessness, feeling cynical, feeling trapped. And there's also a stress response. Okay, so your nervous system has just kicked in to give you that fight or flight or freeze response. Okay, so when you feel trapped and helpless and sick, that's your nervous system talking to you. This is your mind, body, money connection. And I'm here to tell you that it's subconsciously running you. Whatever you think in your conscious mind is not nearly as powerful as what is going on in your body, your nervous system, you know, and in your subconscious minds. But what's really interesting to me is why this imaginary goal triggers us, or any kind of financial goals often trigger us negatively, not always. And it's for this reason: the more you up level, the more you dare to dream, the more pressure there is. And our analytical minds are not there to take huge leaps of thinking, to have inspired ears and, you know, to listen to intuition. Our mind is just task orientated and process driven. It's there to follow steps. And some of you said, I don't know how to get there. It just seems unrealistic. So if your mind has a goal and it has no idea how to achieve it, it's going to go crazy and keep you stuck. It's going to basically send a message to say, danger, danger, failure lies ahead, don't go there. And as humans, we don't willingly move towards failure, do we? No. But the danger is, this is really important for you to understand. If you don't set a goal, let alone an outrageous goal, you're actually setting a default goal. It's the income, it's the savings, it's the debt that you currently have. And what I mean by that is not setting a goal is setting a goal. Does that make sense? So I'm going to ask you again, do you think it's important that we clear these limiting beliefs? Okay, are we ready to play? We're going to shift gears now. Hopefully that's eye-opening. I don't want to keep you sitting in this uncomfortable feeling, but I'm going to share with you a process to eliminate some of this resistance and your limiting beliefs by using a mind-body technique. And you're going to be able to set this goal and start to shift your energy and start to feel more excited about it. So the process is emotional freedom technique. It's EFT, also known as tapping. Some of you may well be aware of it already, some of you may not. It will boost your energy and your mindset. It will turn off your stress response. It's been clinically proven to turn off the stress response. And it will help you to eliminate some of your resistance and your limiting beliefs. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with EFT, I'll just quickly explain that it's a blend of East meets West. So what I mean by that is it's Eastern acupressure medicine meets Western psychology. And as I said, it's clinically proven to deactivate the stress response. So while you simultaneously tap on certain acupressure points on the body, while voicing an issue, your nervous system will be able to reorganize the way in which it responds to certain triggers. Now, I'm obviously only going to give you a bite-sized piece of this, but you will start to see how EFT works. So I'm going to try and get myself on screen now. Yes, so I just want to say, don't worry if your child or your dog looks at you strangely. We're going to look a bit odd if you haven't done it before. Um, Zoe, can you get me on the screen, please? Okay. Where are we? Share my webcam. Let's see if that works. Can everybody see me?
Not yet. Maybe just
I can see.
you look small in your oh, I can. If you can you see the control panel now, Sabina?
I can. So I've made myself bigger.
So, but in the control panel, people might be writing yes, they can see you.
Ah, okay. Questions. I can't see where people are commenting.
Well, I can see you, so I'm sure other people can see you.
Okay. I hope so. All right, so here's what we're going to do, ladies. Get 2 fingers. I'm going to show you the points quickly. So we're going to tap very gently, super soft, on the inside of the eyebrow, and then on the side of the eye, not at the temple, not on the eye, just at the bottom of the eyebrow. I'm just showing the points quickly. Under the eye, under the nose, chin, and on the collarbone. I don't know if you can see there. And on the top of the head, you know where the baby's soft spot is, the fontanelle? So just repeat after me. So I want you to repeat what I say and just tap along with me, okay? So first of all, take a nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, come into your body and start tapping with me. The fact is, this goal is impossible. Repeat after me. The fact is, this goal is absolutely impossible. There's no way and no how that I can achieve this. It's ridiculous. It's way too much. This goal is just too me. I just can't see how it would happen. I can't earn that much. I can't save that much. How would it ever happen? I'm not a good enough money manager. It's impossible. I know it's impossible. I believe that it's impossible. It's way too big. No one has ever made this much money. Well, okay, some people have. I can't create that much. And I know that to be 100% true. Not in a million years. No way, no how. I can predict the future with absolute accuracy. I've got a crystal ball and I know it won't happen. I know what's going to happen and I just can't do it. I'm telling you that there is no way that this is possible for me. Okay, stop. Take a nice deep breath in and let it out. Okay, now, so I want you to go back to the handout. How do we do that, Zoe?
So you'll just have to make me the presenter again. Sorry, I did it the wrong way last time. If you go in the control panel and
yes,
the circle button, it should say make presenter. Or click next to my name.
Next to your name.
A little arrow.
Yeah, sorry ladies, bear with me. Here we go.
Make presenter.
Make presenter. Here we go. Right, we're on.
Thank you.
Got it? So take some breaths, ladies. There we go. Now, what I want you to do is go back to that statement of it's impossible under goal 2 and re-rate yourself. So maybe it sounded a bit like I was in your head, but I want you to go back and numerically rate yourself again. And if I can get just a quick, very quick gauge of whether people have shifted slightly. So I'm conscious of time here. Some people may have gone up, some people may have gone down.
Still the same, down 2 points, still 10, from 10 out of 10 to 8 out of 10, shifted a wee bit, no change. I'm more positive to approach this. Yes, feel down and sad. I went from 5 to 2. I feel calmer, but I still can't see how. No change of mindset from that exercise. Down to, I've shifted by 2 toward being possible. Down 2, I rated it 1 score low because I know I don't have a crystal ball. Yes, shifted down 1 point. Feel a bit more positive, 8 to 6. 8 to 5, I feel calmer, still the same for me.
Fantastic. Great, thank you for the feedback. So we can see that, some people have stayed the same, and that's fine because that was literally just 2 minutes of tapping. But isn't it interesting that quite a few of you have said that you've come down, 1 or 2 or more points. Now, how did that happen? How did that happen? Let's just do some more tapping. So I think I might just stay on this screen like this rather than. Can you see me, Zoe?
Yeah, I might be able to. Oops. Okay, can people see Sabina now? Yeah, great.
Okay, fantastic. So let's take another nice deep breath in.
Just ask a couple of questions. Why were we saying all those negatives?
Yeah, it is. It's why are we saying that? It's very counterintuitive, but the way EFT works, and I'll explain this afterwards, is that we want to voice the negative because the fact is, a lot of us were feeling like it was very impossible. So we want to voice what's really going on. So let's just take a deep breath and carry on tapping.
Sorry to interrupt. I think people can see my screen.
Aww.
And so yeah, they can see my husband and child rather than your face. So I'm just going to well, just ask one more. Oh, I can see both. As long as you can still see Sabina, that's great. Thank you.
All right, shall I carry on?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do some more tapping. I still don't believe it's completely possible. I mean, it just still seems crazy. But I'm going to choose in this moment to be open, to suspend my disbelief just in this moment. I'm choosing to be open to the limitless possibilities beyond what I can currently see. I'm choosing to expand my belief and open up my mindset that everything I need to achieve my goals will in some way present itself to me. I'm open to being surprised in the right way at the right time. Because the fact is, resources do often appear out of nowhere. Impossible things do happen every day. What if I could just open myself up to the possibility and focus on it positively, just for now? What if I could allow it to come into my reality without worrying about how? As crazy and ridiculous as that sounds, what have I got to lose? The fact is, there are a million ways in which I could create more money. I could have ideas in the shower. I could have ideas when I'm on the toilet. I'm open to listening and observing any ideas that I have. And I'm open to taking action. I'm open to resources and possibilities and people and opportunities showing up for me. And I don't have to worry about how. In this moment, I'm choosing to be open to the possibility. Okay, stop. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose and let it out. And just notice how your energy is feeling. Okay, so Zoe, let's go back to the presentation.
Okay, so I just want to acknowledge some comments that are coming through.
Please.
So,
Yeah.
so a couple of you have thought this is getting a bit weird. I'm really trying, but this is weirding me out a little bit. And I have to say that I feel exactly the same way. How does, saying things out aloud and tapping in different places in your face, how can that make any transformation? But I'll tell you that even I stuck through Sabina's session the other day and I really have noticed a few interesting things. So even if you're like me and you think this is pretty weird stuff, just stick with it. And as Sabina says, open your mind.
Yeah, so I did say it was going to be out of the box and to play along. And this is just the idea of what we're trying to do. Can you still see me on screen, or is it just the presentation now?
It's the presentation, but just a few more comments. So much shifting going on, Sabina. It's awesome. Yep, down to, and I did the last session with a smile. I'm really excited. Tapping is so amazing. I'm feeling calmer already and happier. Feels much better. Sounds a bit more positive now, calmer. So there you are. There's a lot of feeling energized. It's not going to hurt us to try something new. I'm loving it. Whole body language has even changed during the last tapping session. I feel like I've got more air. So how about that?
Yes, fantastic. Now, look, not everyone is going to respond to this, but there are cynics and there are people where it doesn't work, and that's absolutely fine. But you can also see that there are people where it does work. This is working on your nervous system, okay? And when you shift, let's go and re-rate ourselves. We've done that. Where are we? So just go and re-rate yourself in the last column now. So after the second round of EFT, where are you? And what I want to say is that, and we can answer these questions as we carry on, but if you are noticing a shift, and even if you don't know why or how, I want to let you know that this has an exponential effect on your energy, your enthusiasm, your openness. And basically what happens is that when you turn off your analytical mind, let's see if the slides are advancing, you become more open to creative ideas. Now, clinical studies have shown that when you tap on these meridian points, these acupressure points, the neurological activity in your brain changes and your blood flow moves from the critical lizard primitive part of your brain through to your prefrontal cortex, which is on your forehead, and that is where your creative problem-solving brain is. So when you turn off that scared fight or flight or freeze response that we tuned into, and you feel more open, as you can see, a lot of you are feeling more energized. What's happened is that you've redirected the blood flow to the front of your brain. How? It's weird, it's out there, it's woo-woo. We don't know how that's possible, but you've just seen that there is a physiological change for many of you. Not all of you, I give you that, but there is a physiological change. And the fact is, the more that we send blood flow to our foreheads, the more we're going to feel creative, the more we're going to feel courageous, the more focused we're going to feel, the more clear, and that's where you get ideas and nudges to act and synchronicities start happening. Okay, let's see. Seem to have quite a big delay with the
Sorry,
slides. Here we go.
there's a delay, Sabina, when I've been using the mouse to look at the questions. So it just takes a moment to swap over.
Okay, fantastic. I want you to dream big. I want you to dream big, even if it seems pie in the sky. You know, do you want to set a small and non-scary goal or a big goal? Because if you set a goal for, let's say, an extra $20,000, yes, that is a lot of money. But I want to let you know that you're going to get inspiration and ideas and opportunities for $20,000. If you set a goal, let's say, for $50,000, it may seem ridiculous, but I promise you that the universe is going to line up for you for $50,000. Your brain, there's something called the reticular activating system in your brain. I don't have time to go into all the science, but your brain is going to scan the horizon for opportunities, people, jobs, ideas, synchronicities that will draw in a bigger goal to you. So which goal do you want? So I'm going to summarize now what we've done to put it into context. We started with setting a goal, then I had you double it. We saw how much resistance came up. We numerically measured it. A lot of you were feeling really intense. And then we've worked through it just in very, very quick tapping. I mean, this is just a sliver, a snippet, but you can already see that just with a couple of minutes of tapping, a lot of you have changed. You've shifted in your thinking and your energy. And if you were to do this far more in depth, it would change things dramatically in your physiology and in your thinking. So I hope that you can start to get a taster of how this powerful mind-body process can help you to shift your limiting beliefs. So there are some actions for you that I recommend you do. Play with this, have an open mind. We've found and started working on your limiting beliefs that you have around your goals. After the webinar, I'd love for you to get clear on your numbers, to get really specific. Go back and re-watch this replay and do some tapping. Do the tapping every day if you can. Fast forward, tap and observe what unfolds over the next week for you. I haven't had a chance to speak to Zoe after her session, but she said that she's had a couple of things happen, which I'm curious about, but that's by the by. Just notice whether you get any inspired ideas or synchronistic opportunities.
So a couple of people, I'm just trying to go back and find them, but a couple of people said, oh, I found a couple of limiting beliefs that that were really interesting. So if I can find them, I'll share them, because I'm sure that a lot of us share some. So, sorry, I found my limiting belief. I'm just not one of those people who's successful with money. And someone, a block I have is I don't think I deserve more if others are in need. They're just
Yes.
a couple of nice things that sharing.
Bingo. See, once you start to tune into this, I've just given you some generic statements. I don't deserve it, it's impossible. But once you start to tune in, it becomes more obvious the stories that you tell yourself. I'm just not one of those people. Where did you get that idea from? Is that something that you learned in early childhood from your parents or from the primary people around you? Is success for other people? Why don't you deserve more when other people have so little? Do you believe that there's a finite amount of abundance in this world? Do you believe that you having more means that someone else will suffer? And, I want to pose the question, is that really true? Or is that just a story that you're trying on and making true for you to hold yourself back? So I've got here, sorry, Zoe.
Sorry, Sabrina. There's another nice question here. Is there any evidence that tapping works better rather than writing down the goals, or does it work hand in hand?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can deal with your limiting beliefs in any number of ways. I use tapping in quite an in-depth way. This is quite a superficial way that I've used it with you. But some people prefer to write in journals, so they might write down in their journal, I'm just not one of those people. And then you could start journaling what evidence you have to say that that's true. Where did that belief come from? And then to flip the script and say, well, how do I know that that's not true? What evidence do I have to the contrary? So some people like to journal. I like to use EFT and kinesiology because as I said, it works on the mind-body-money connection. And I think when you work on your mindset, your physiology, your thoughts and your feelings, it's just such a powerful combination that you're hitting things with this three-pronged attack. But if EFT is not for you, that's absolutely fine. This is just a tool that I want to share with you that I couple with psychological processes and other energy psychology processes that I use. So find what works for you. When you realize that you have a limiting belief, go ahead and deal with it in whatever way you want to.
So there are some fabulous questions coming through. We might just let Sabina finish her presentation, knowing that there's a few of you who might just have had an hour away from work, but we'll be staying online for another 10 or 15 minutes and we'll go through some of these questions because there's some really interesting ones.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to hear them. So shall I just press on now for those of you that need to leave? Action steps. Action steps. I've given you some action steps. Go away and get clear on what your limiting beliefs are. Get clear on your numbers. Start to play with increasing your goals. Start playing with having a stretch goal. Do some tapping. Suspend your disbelief. Try and do that. As I said at the beginning, having a positive relationship with money. In fact, maybe I didn't say this. It's really about having a positive relationship with your own beliefs and with your power. And when you really get in touch with your beliefs and your power and your mindset, then when you combine that with strategy, my goodness, that is a powerful combination. I know, because that's how I've changed my life around. I'm living proof that this can happen. And there's a famous quote that many of you may know. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. If you think you can't achieve your goals, you're right, because you're not going to take the steps to get there. Your belief in what's possible will subconsciously run your life. And so developing this positive money mindset in whatever way you want to is really important. So notice when you've got negative thoughts popping up and be open to questioning them. So I want to let you in on a tip, a secret. On that handout that we were doing, the statement, I deserve it, is one of the most important limiting beliefs that you need to address. And if you go to my website, I've got a 3-part mini video series on this. It's on the number one belief you need to earn more. It's your sense of deserving. And there are some helpful processes in there. There's some tapping in there that you can use. There's a process that helps you uncover what's behind whether you think you're actually deserving of more money. So that's at my website, sabinalawrence.com. And then at the beginning I told you that I would try and pack in as much as I could, and there was a lot to cover, but if you can see that these limiting beliefs are holding you back and they're costing you money, and if you did enjoy what we did today, then I've created a special offer for the 10,000 Girl community, because I'm absolutely in awe of what Zoe's doing here and what the team are doing. It's just really, really important work. And the truth is that there's so much more that I've got to share on this subject as well. This is just really the tip of the iceberg. So I want to invite you to have a power coaching session with me if you feel called to do it. It's Your Money Matters. This is the session that Zoe was talking about. And we look at your savings, your debt, your income goals, and we start to get clear on the subconscious programming that's holding you back, not the generic thoughts, but what's really going on for you. Now, it's normally $295. It's not. For you, it's $150, because, as I said, this community is very, very important, and this is the URL that you can go to. It's 10TG150. So if you go ahead and make the payment and the booking by the end of March, you will be able to take advantage of this offer. And that's it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I do invite you to take the work deeper in whatever way you choose to do it. And I'm going to hand you back over to Zoe now and open up the floor to questions.
So thank you so much, Sabina. I know that that there are a few people weirded out, but there was also people insanely interested and passionate. And I think that that it's always interesting, no matter where we stand, to learn new techniques and perspectives on how to take more control of our lives. So I just want to acknowledge our really generous supporting partners, because they allow us to get these fabulous people and run these free webinars. If you want to do the 6-step money makeover program, the next round starts in June. And we will now go through a few different questions, because I know that there were some fabulous questions coming through. One of them was so thank you all for joining us. If you have to go, please head off and have a wonderful day, but otherwise stay on for some more questions. There was an interesting one from someone. Are there studies to support the use of EFT on children with disabilities? And perhaps you can email through any of resources you have, Sabina, that we can share with people if there's not a quick answer.
It depends what sort of disabilities you're talking about, and I don't know about specific studies. There have been a lot of studies done. What I can say is that I've been using it with my son, who's almost 7, since he was 3, when he was having horrendous tantrums. We had some physiological things going on with him health-wise, and also he was going through his terrible 2s and 3-year-old tantrums. And I started using EFT with him at a very young age, and it really helped just turn down the dial on the intensity of his stress response. So obviously with a child, you would keep it very, very simple. I used to tap on him, and I used to voice what I thought was going on with him, and it was incredibly powerful for our bond. He felt heard, he felt calmer. And the really sweet thing is he's at school now, and he came home a few months ago and he said, "Oh, Mummy, one of the girls in my class was crying. She was being teased, so I showed her tapping," which was super, super sweet. I'm so passionate about teaching our kids, giving them tools to become more mindful, more tuned into their bodies, being able to express what's going on for them. So I think EFT is incredible for kids. But that's slightly off topic in terms of kids with disabilities, so I can certainly try and send something through if I find it. I know that people with autistic children use it as well. It's not a cure, but it certainly helps you deal with some of those really big, intense emotions.
So there's a few questions then about sort of how it works and how people do it. I'll just read out a few of them because they might weave, the same answer might weave into it. So when I tap each day, should it be positive talk, not the initial I can't do it statements? Do you tap that you have achieved your goal? How long and how many times a day do you recommend tapping? Yeah, so those three questions sort of link in a little bit.
Yeah, okay, good questions, great. Yeah, so the idea with tapping is that just literally voice the negative. So whatever that recorder is going on in your head, I can't do it, no way, it doesn't happen for me, tap on the negative. As I said, it sounds counterintuitive, but tap along on the negative until you feel yourself getting a little bit calmer. You will feel your energy start to shift. And it's really important that you voice it out loud. It activates a different part of the brain when you say it out loud. Okay, so do a couple of rounds on your negative thoughts. Pause, check in with yourself. Something else might pop up, something else negative, tap on that. And then you can start to shift to a more positive, empowered state. So like, oh, well, you know, I suppose it could be possible. I'm not sure how, but I want to be open to the possibility. I wonder what it would feel like if I did have that much money, if I did have more ease in my life. So you want to do a round on the negative, round on the positive. You know, just 5-10 minutes a day will make a massive difference to your stress response. I can pretty much guarantee that if you did tapping every day for 10 minutes, it would change your physiology and how stressed you feel. I can't guarantee how you're going to make the money, but it will change the way that you show up and how stressed you feel. So you can do, with this webinar, I would suggest that you literally tap along to what I said every day. Just rewind this part of the webinar and tap along to that every day. Do 10 minutes. If you go to my website, to that video series, there is a specific video that's quite powerful on your sense of deserving, and that gives you another way of using EFT. And what I can do, Zoe, is share a how-to video, how to do tapping, in the resources. So I'll make a note of that if that's helpful for people.
Great. We might send out a few other resources along with this recording.
Yeah.
There's another great comment. Thanks, Sabina. I looked fabulous tapping in an open plan office. I feel great and positive and went from an impossible 16K for a holiday to a 200K house deposit. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Oh, fantastic. I love it. It's crazy, isn't it?
Has said, where's the best place to go to learn more about EFT? So as we said, we might send you some more resources.
Yes, absolutely.
Someone also said, where's Sabina based? If we take up her generous offer and we're not in the same city, do we Skype teleconference?
Yes, so I actually only work over Skype. I work I work with my eyes shut normally, actually, because I tune in, I do muscle testing, I use various processes, and I just like to work with my eyes shut. So all my client sessions are over Skype with the video off, so it doesn't matter where you are.
Or what you're wearing.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. You've been a tremendous participants and really excited to hear anyone's stories or changes or observations or any other resources or ideas you find or experience over the next few weeks. Please share with us. And Sabina, again, just thank you so much. You're an incredibly powerful, positive girl, and we really appreciate you being a beautiful part of our community.
Thank you, Zoe. It was an absolute pleasure. And yes, I would love to hear how people go. Thank you.